Hello everyone. I'm back. So now we are heading towards our next presenter, who is Kelly Smith, who is working as a risk and compliance manager. Hello everyone. At Lloyds Bank. So now we are heading towards our next presenter at Lloyds Bank. Okay. So she will be sharing her experiences and insights in different attributes of the data and IT industry. So within few minutes, Kelly will be presenting about her expertise and her professional career in the field of data and IT. Okay.
Hi, I'm Kelly Smith. I'm a risk and compliance manager in Lloyds Banking Group. Welcome to this webinar. Unfortunately, I can't speak about Lloyds Banking Group, but I can talk about my experience more widely. So why? Why are we talking about artificial intelligence, analytics, and alternative data? Why are we talking about AI and machine learning? In most organisations, AI and machine learning were originally managed centrally. AI and machine learning was considered as cases were identified, prioritised, and then machine learning was put in place. Now, almost every piece of software the firm buys will have some form of AI and machine learning. We, as risk and technology practitioners, we need to understand AI and machine learning so that we can make sure it's implemented effectively and in a risk managed way. Why are we talking about alternative data? Well, data is the new oil. Alternative data or exhaust data is the byproduct of businesses. Again, we as technology and risk practitioners, we should be considering alternative data and how we use it effectively and how we use it in a risk managed way. If you're an expert in AI, analytics, and alternative data, and you can add something to what we're talking about today, please ask any questions or make any comments at the end of this session. So what are we going to cover today? I've just covered the why. We will look to cover the what. So firstly, we're going to cover the opportunities of AI, machine learning, and alternative data. Then we'll go on to cover the risks. And finally, I'm going to cover the key get rights. So what and how? First, we'll cover the opportunities. And the best way to explain the opportunities for AI and machine learning is through case studies. So learning a broad topic and then simulating an expert. Extending a body of knowledge like medication and then using that to offer new applications to medicines. Performing complex planning such as for Internet of Things. Better communications, intelligent chat for customer service or problem solving, and perception such as autonomous vehicles. 90% of people and 90% of freight are transported by road. This is a big opportunity for autonomous vehicles. 2.2 million people are employed as drivers in the UK. 90% of accidents are due to driver inattention. Research suggests that there could be a fall of 63% in insurance premiums due to autonomous vehicles. Could also be used in recipe creation, taking successful recipes and using these to build more. Music creation, again, taking successful music and using it to build new music. Art creation, taking successful art and using it to create new art. Speech recognition, vision and optical capabilities. Machine learning is a current application of artificial intelligence based around the idea that we should be able to give machines access to data and let them learn for themselves. Ability to think like humans, ability to be able to problem solve better than humans. Machine learning equals artificial intelligence over big data. It's a conglomeration of parts, but still each one is distinct. Machine learning learns with feedback from the data and potentially from the users monitoring the algorithm. It can be supervised, unsupervised, deal with segmentation, classification, and regression. Now, you may have heard of GPT-3, Generative Pre-trained Transformer. GPT-3. It's an autoregressive language model that uses deep learning to produce human-like text. It's the third generation language prediction model in the GPT series, and it was created by OpenAI, a San Francisco-based AI research lab. GPT-3 full version has the capacity of 175 billion machine learning parameters. Before the release of GPT-3, the largest language model was Microsoft's Turing NLG, introduced in February 2020 with a capacity of 17 billion parameters, a tenth of GPT-3. So GPT-3 use cases are as follows. It can write creative fiction, generate functioning code, and compose thoughtful business memos. So alternative data. The best way of explaining alternative data is by explaining opportunities for how it can be used. Goldman Sachs Asset Management monitored Alexa data and noticed spikes in Home Depot and overweighted on the home improvement stocks months before the company increased its outlook and shares soared. Goldman's is also now selling alternative data to clients to support investment and risk management activities. Due to lack of confidence in the numbers being presented by the Chinese National Bureau of Statistics, hedge funds are now using satellite imagery and the intensity of artificial nightlight to determine rises and fall in energy consumption to monitor the country's economic activity. Online retailer Wayfair's released quarterly results, which resulted in a 20% increase in shares. However, some money managers didn't need to use this data because they were already able to see the increased surge in downloads of Wayfair's Apple Store app via Thinkman's alternative data of Apple Store data. So on to the risks now, and I'll start with the risks of AI and machine learning and how to manage them. So there's issues with data integrity, data quality, and the challenges of new processes, systems, and people impacts. Issues with maturity of the organisation, the industry, and regulatory guidance. The risk associated with AI, including lack of control, governance, and transparency of the AI solution. Microsoft's bot, Tay. Microsoft released Tay on Twitter in 2016, and an organised trolling effort took advantage of her social learning abilities and immediately flooded the bot with alt-right slurs and slogans. Tay copied their messages and spewed them back out, forcing Microsoft to take her offline after only 16 hours and then apologise. The next iteration, Zoe was completely politically correct, shutting down conversations about seemingly simple topics like I wear a hijab or what do you think of Ireland's new abortion law. Amazon's CV screener that was built to find potential candidates turned out to be discriminating against women, as all the successful CVs that were put through were men. Amazon was never able to use this algorithm. Ethical considerations of AI, of using AI and machine learning. Well, there's the weaponization of AI, which is thought to be unethical. Unemployment, what do we do with the roles that become redundant? 2.2 million drivers in the UK who would be replaced by autonomous vehicles, as mentioned earlier. Inequality, how do we distribute the wealth created by AI and machines? Humanity, how do machines affect our behaviour and interaction? Artificial stupidity, how do we guard against making mistakes? Racist robots, how do we eliminate bias? Or we've already talked about the Amazon CV bot. Autonomous or intelligent weapons. The hummingbird, which isn't picked up as a weapon because it looks like nature, is in fact an autonomous weapon. And cleverest of them all, anyone who's read the book Sapiens appreciates that humans are the top of the food chain, not because of sharp teeth, size, or muscularity, but because of our brains. What does this mean if we're creating machines that can out-clever us, as is the current case with chess? Do machines have rights? Robot Sophia became a Saudi Arabian citizen in October 2020. So what are the risks associated with alternative data and how do we manage those? Selling trade data, which could have come from customer trades, is undoubtedly going to upset customers. Certain clients want their data locked away, which would mean not taking it out before using it. We must make sure that any alternative data being sold is anonymised and aggregated. The ethical considerations of using alternative data. So alternative data be like mobile phone data location, entrance to shops, gyms, hospitals, satellite imagery, credit card transactions, tracking of foot traffic, again via mobile phone data. It must be compliant with GDPR, and data should not be able to identify the individual. Data should also not be able to enable actions on an individual. So what? So finally, this brings us to what our key get rights are. Make sure you are compliant with any regulations. AI and machine learning should be explainable. Data should not be able to identify the individual, and if it does, it should comply with GDPR. Put guidelines or principles in place so your firm adopts best practice, doesn't breach any regulations, and minimises risks of things going wrong. Decide on how you deploy and govern AI, machine learning and alternative data with either a centralised programme or a federated model. Centralised or federated will be preferred over decentralised unless strong principles and controls could be in place with the decentralised model. You may want to keep a log of AI, machine learning, alternative data use cases in your organisation to be tracked. So you can, if regulation or best practice changes, you can adapt quickly. And use a human circuit breaker to ensure that the algorithm doesn't veer in the wrong direction. People must be inserted into the process to make sure the AI doesn't make any major mistakes, such as killing all humanity just to cure cancer. So that brings this presentation to a close. I'm now happy to take any questions or comments.